everybody, welcome back to H&S Collectibles. This is Cody. So I'm doing a tag video. I'm doing the soundtrack tag redo. I was tagged by 3 people who, they all love soundtracks and they know how much I love soundtracks, so they got me in on it. But Beth over at Miss 80s Movies and Music, Neil over at Retro Reels, and Dave over at David's Horror. All 3 tagged me, so there'll be links to their videos below. Definitely go check them out. They show some great albums from their collection. So this is 20 questions, and I've focused my answers on the vinyl part of my collection. So I have a lot of digital, a lot of CD, but these are just going to concern the records. So, question 1, how many soundtracks do you have? So I did a count, and I came up with 229. Now there is some duplication in there. For example, I have 2 different copies of Creepshow, I have 2 different copies of The Fog, I think 2 different copies or A Fistful of Dollars, 3 different copies of Good, Bad, and the Ugly. And that might be about it. And then the Godzilla set I counted as 18 because there's 18 albums in it, which I guess in reality it's 15. So that kind of got me there. So somewhere around 220 to 225 once you take all those things out and considerations. And I get too picky with myself and start splitting hairs. Like I've got 2 Godzilla tribute albums. One of them is full of music that's in the big box set, so do I count that as well? I don't know. I did. So somewhere in that 220 to 225-ish range, depending on what you count. So enough rambling about that one. First soundtrack I ever bought. So this one goes back about as far as I can remember. I was about 7 when it came out, and you can see it's in kind of rough shape. Been in my collection for almost 40 years at this point. It's scratchy. It's got my name written on it. I used to write my name on all my records. So yeah, Ghostbusters. Most recent additions to your collection, either new or used. So I got this King Kong score done by Fred Steiner and the Philharmonic Orchestra that did the Star Trek soundtracks in the 60s. And on the same trip out, I picked up the 10 Commandments used and Trail of the Pink Panther. So my whole collection is not just horror and sci-fi. That's probably the bulk of it, but I like other things too. What is your most listened to soundtrack? And for me, that's got to be Day of the Dead. I play the record often, but it's on my phone. It's in my MP3 player in my car. It's just a great score, and really love it. Best opening songs. So I had 2 answers to this, even though I don't own one. The first song that come to mind that I thought was just one of the best opening songs for a movie was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the song Breakaway. But I don't have Bill and Ted on record. So I'm going to go with Charlie Brown Christmas and O Tannenbaum. It's an old Christmas tree. We play this at Christmas, and in the show, as well as just when you play the album at Christmas, just the first couple notes from that just sets the mood, of the season. So I'm going with Charlie Brown Christmas for that one. Favorite composer and favorite composition by them. So I was real tempted to say John Carpenter here. But my favorite by him is an album that we're going to see in a moment. So I backed up and I thought, I like Alan Silvestri, I like Harold Faltermeyer, but I love John Williams. And I had to go with Jaws for my favorite score by him. Next question was, what is a lackluster soundtrack? I'm going to pass on that one because really, if it's lackluster, it's not going to be in my collection. I'm not going to bother with it. So I'm just passing on that one. Number 8, name a soundtrack that is better than the movie. And I went with John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Now, I love Prince of Darkness, don't get me wrong. I think it's an underrated Carpenter classic. Love it. But it does suffer from some pacing issues here and there. But the score, the way that the score drives and builds, the score works better than the movie. In my opinion, I put on the score and there's no slow parts of the score for me. There's slow parts in the movie, but not slow parts in the score. So, Prince of Darkness for that one. Number 9, favorite artwork or color. So I'm going to answer both. Right now, I think my favorite artwork is Bloodsport that Waxwork put out last year, and just the gatefold of Van Damme and Bolo Young and the arena. I just thought that was awesome, and it's been one of my favorite artworks that they've done lately. And then for Carpenter, my favorite Carpenter score is my favorite colored vinyl, and that's what I figured I would show here, is the Fog that Waxwork did. So this is the Fog Swirl variant, and I just thought that was pretty awesome. Next up, number 10. What is an album that needs a reissue or needs to be issued the first time on vinyl? I don't have CDs or anything to show you, but I'm going to go with one that I would like to see reissued would be Pump Up the Volume, the Christian Slater movie. That is actually the movie where I kind of fell in love with my favorite artist that you'll see the answer to here in a few moments. So that's one I'd like to see a repress of because it's crazy expensive out there on Discogs. And ones that I think should have a first-time pressing on vinyl. The 3 that I keep parroting and saying. Bubba Hotep, I'd like to see get a good vinyl release. Terror in the Isles, the score to that by John Beal, is a good one. And also Six String Samurai, which is a combination of a Russian Russian surf band called the Red Elvises, and also Brian Tyler, who also did Bubba Hotep. So that's my answers to that. Next up, a bargain bin soundtrack. I think this is the same answer I gave on this one last time, but I'm going to go with Patton. It seems like when I go out and about, I usually find Patton again. Patton is a good score by Jerry Goldsmith. Very good score. And a very good movie, too. But it's one I see frequently in the bargain bins for like $1 to $3. So if you see it, pick it up. I think it's a good one. A soundtrack with your favorite band or artist. So I'm going to go with Natural Born Killers because it has 2 songs, and actually 2 songs on the record, 3 songs in the movie by Leonard Cohen. And Leonard Cohen is probably my favorite solo singer. So yeah, I think on the record here you've got Waiting for the Miracle and The Future, and in the movie they also played Democracy during the prison riot scene. So Natural Born Killers, Leonard Cohen. What is a soundtrack you have with a song performed by an actor in the movie? I went with Smokey and the Bandit, of course, Eastbound and Down, and The Legend, performed by Jerry Reed. good stuff, set the tone for the movie. Uh, the song is as recognizable as the movie, and one really can't, you know, exist without the other. I think they were just a perfect combination. A soundtrack where a band or artist performed in the movie. And similar answer to Beth, Back to the Future is what I went with, and I was going to choose the Starlighters that sang Earth Angel and performed Night Train. I guess, Marty also performed Johnny Be Good in there. The first movie that came to mind with an artist that was on the soundtrack that was also in the movie and performed, I thought was the Jeff Healey band in Roadhouse, but I don't have the Roadhouse soundtrack. Soundtrack to the last movie soundtrack that you have of a movie you most recently watched. So Beth had said Halloween Kills, and that was actually my answer until just the other night when I watched Star Trek the Motion Picture for the first time in a while. So, yeah, that one. What is a record store day release that you have? So I have a few. I don't have many. I probably have 7 or 8 total. Because I've only really been on record store day for a couple, 3 times so far. But I was going to show a trio here of Ennio Morricone, Man with No Name Western soundtracks. So Good, Bad, and the Ugly, record store day exclusive from 2020. And I really like these. These are 10-inch records, one in red and one in yellow, a fistful of dollars, and for a few dollars more. And also, incidentally, these records are one of my first contacts that I had with Beth. Beth had a video where she was detailing some of the upcoming record store day releases. I had never heard of record store day, so these were my first record store day purchases, and the only reason I knew that they were coming was that Beth had featured them on her channel, and I think Good, Bad, and Ugly was 2,000 copies, and I think the 10-inch here were like limited to 750 copies or something like that, so real happy that I got them. Real happy that she let me know that they were coming, and even happier that I met Beth because of them. So Beth, all credit on these go to you, and I got them from Light in the Attic Records. They were selling online because of COVID at the time for record store day. So thank you, Beth. And number 17, one from the year that I was born. So I was born 1977. So I'm going with Star Wars. Great score, classic. And actually John Williams again. He's done so many good ones. It's incredible. Blind Buy. So Blind Buy is kind of hard because I typically don't blind buy. The closest I have come to blind buy recently was this soundtrack to the video game Stubbs the Zombie, which I love, but I almost hesitate to call it a blind buy because I played a few of the songs on YouTube before I went ahead and bought it. So not really a blind buy when you look at it that way, but about as close as I can get. And then I also thought I would say Halloween Kills. If I'm not mistaken, Dave and Beth, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think we ordered and got this before the movie came out. I don't remember exactly if I had the record first or saw the movie first. But I was buying it just because it was the new Halloween, and John Carpenter had done it, and I'm a John Carpenter fanboy, so there we go. And last question, number 20, is... number 19. A soundtrack that you own on multiple formats. So anymore, I really only have 2 formats. Well, we got digital, but I'm not going to count that. So I've got CDs and records. And I used to also have Christine on tape, so I was going to give it up to Christine. The one that I own the most times across the different formats has got to be Halloween, because I think I have Halloween on 2 different records and 3 different CDs, something like that. So, but Christine is one that I definitely know I had on tape, CD, and then record. And then last one, number 20. What is a soundtrack that you play to lift your mood? And I went with Beverly Hills Cop. I like Beverly Hills Cop. I like Harold Faltermeyer. It's got some playful tunes in it. It's a great score. I'd like to also sometime get the score to Beverly Hills Cop 2. I've got the I've got the soundtrack. I don't have the score. And I'd like to see more Harold Faltermeyer get put on vinyl, like Tango and Cash. I have Tango and Cash on CD, but not on record. And Cuffs. Cuffs is another great one by Faltermeyer. So, bonus round was, tag some channels that are into vinyl that I would like to see have them show off their soundtracks. I'm going to kind of wuss out on that because my 3 answers probably would have been Beth, David, and Retro Reels. But I guess if anything, I might tag Keith over at Euphoria Pictures. Keith has a vinyl collection going now that I think I helped start him on. So Keith, if you want to answer these 20 questions, I think that would be great. And that's going to be it. So everybody, thanks for watching. What you have any opinions on these albums? List them below. I'd love to hear them. See what you think. And that's it. Everybody stay safe. Take care of each other. And I will talk to you later. Thanks.